All right, and we are live on YouTube now. How are you doing, Kicker?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. I am, I don't know if we prefaced this, but my baby is 8 days old. So that means zero sleep and a lot of poop. But yeah, no, life is going pretty good other than that. And I honestly, the baby's a tramp. He's a total champ. It's just a lot of late nights. So please tell me if I need to slow down or if I miss a key thing to point out.
Certainly. Well, thank you for joining us today, especially with the little one that is there. We really appreciate you taking the time, your busy new dad schedule for it. And for anyone who is joining us today, this is the Weird Homes Tour Live, and they have a really awesome shipping container home that they're going to show us around. And I will be watching the comments section. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll ship a container home and then start showing it off to us.
Well, hey guys, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I was born and raised here in New Orleans, and I love the city. And when Hurricane Katrina happened, though, I was really kind of scarred for life. My home was destroyed. My parents were rescued after 4 days on the roof of their house. Our business was totaled. Everything was damaged. And ever since then, I was like, geez, when I get to building my own house here in New Orleans, I want to make sure I have something that I feel comfortable in and safe in. And that began that whole process of, well, I don't really want a wood house. I've been living in wood houses here in New Orleans, and you can hear the neighbors and you can hear the wind rattle on the siding, and it really always freaked me out. So I'm like, okay, well then I want to build a house out of bricks or stone or something, but those are really expensive and not something I can afford for my first home. So I started thinking, and I realized we're a port city, and we have a lot of shipping containers in the city, and shipping containers, survive on the open seas to high winds and whatnot. And as I'm sure many people know, the country imports a lot more than we export, so we have a surplus of containers here in the city, and in the country, and in this city in particular, we're a port city, so the containers are literally half a mile down the street from me. So like, well, let's see if we can make a house out of those. And it turns out you can. And this is not the first house built out of shipping containers, not by a long shot. There's many ones around the country and the world. But the way we did our house is a little different. We really embraced the shipping container aesthetic. We're not trying to hide the fact that we built a house out of shipping. If you see some poop on the wall, just disregard it. So here's our living room. Let's start off with the floor. This is the original shipping container flooring, but it also just looks cool. So we're going to scroll up. We really wanted to go with an industrial vibe here. So we really kept as much of the container conduit lighting that we have throughout the house. Most houses have, a drop down ceiling so you can hide all your wiring up there. And we don't have that option because we wanted to keep the original container ceiling. So we just embraced it and said, you know what, let's show off that conduit lighting. And then while we're looking out there, you can also see the exposed I-beams we have throughout the house. Those, we did not paint them to make them disappear. We decided, you know what, let's keep them raw and natural because they kind of look, really cool. We're going to store it. And it really is, this is the entrance of the house right here. So you enter our house and then you get this kind of little, tour of who Anne and I are through all these objects. You can kind of get an idea of who we are and where we came from and what's our story. Yeah, another cool part of this house that I'm really proud about is this wall right here. The house is super, I don't use the word, it could be super cold and harsh because it's a metal box, but we decided to break it up by using this reclaimed wood wall right here. We're using old metal containers and we figured, you know what, let's take this old barn wall from about an hour north of here and turn this into an accent piece here for our house. And so this creates this really nice materials whenever possible. And then another cool feature that I love is this. These are all concrete countertops, the entire house, concrete countertops. You figure you're going with Kevin, you're going with an industrial works together. Speaking of wood, we really did need to bring in some wood to tone the metal down, to make the house feel comfortable. I'm German, and we have this term called gemütlich, which means like warm and cozy. So this house needed to have some warm coziness. So bringing in this giant solid slab of cypress. This was in one of the bayous here in Louisiana, about an hour east of us, just sitting for about 150 years under the water and absorbed the minerals and got this awesome natural color and finish to it. And it's a big piece. It's a big accent piece to the house that we love. Because these containers are only 8 feet wide. So these are two containers here. We only have 16 feet wide. So furniture kind of had to be special to fit this house. So this is a very narrow dining room table, but it works great in this space. And we actually use it as a counter height table so that it's built at the exact same height as our counters, so that we can literally go from counter to kitchen dining room table and use it as another counter space to really maximize space. Speaking about maximizing space, every square foot of the house has been used. So this is underneath our stairway, you know, more storage. Our dog even has his own little, so right here is the back of, well, actually the front door of one of the original containers. We decided to keep it totally raw and natural. You can see its rivets right there, you know. It just adds so much cool industrial vibe to it. We painted it orange, looks here, you know, and we're gonna cross over. And here's the literally the seam between container one and then the containers in the back. We just welded a plate there. Yeah, you cross over. Now we're in the back half of the house where here's the baby's room, and all cute stuff. Sorry, it's all messy. And then, you go down this hall and then there's our bedroom.
One of the biggest questions, you spent some time talking about the walls and the various kind of reclaimed parts that you're using. I know a lot of people have questions about shipping container homes and insulation. How. Oh, hey, Kicker, I think that you muted yourself right now. We can't hear you.
Sorry, I have massive hands, and so I just touch all the buttons here. Yeah, so this is kind of like a Yeti cooler, if you think about it like that. It's a metal box with super efficient insulation. So once we set our temperature, it doesn't change much. It's way more efficient than any other home in New Orleans, and our electric bill is nothing to keep it cool. So what we use is a closed cell spray foam insulation, which is basically it's sprayed directly to the metal on the inside of the house, and then we put sheetrock over it. And it just works. Instead of using a central AC unit, we have 7 of these throughout the house, and so we can turn them on or off C unit. So these mini splits don't have that; they just have a small pipe that we're able to hide, as opposed to a big duct that you'd have for a central AC thing. And they work so well. Let's head on upstairs. Oh, there's Chewy. He's my lazy dog. Hey, Choo Choo. All right, buddy. So we're going to go upstairs now. A big thing that I always wanted was to have a workspace where I can basically, I work from home, and I wanted to be able to work from home but not feel like I was so isolated from my family. So the idea here was to have a lofted, I designed this house with the idea of this dream workspace. It's a lofted office overlooking, I'm hipster like that, totally hipster, living in a container house with a standing desk and a purse pooch, right? Natural light is super important to me. That's another way that we maximize our efficiency. By using all these windows, we really don't have to turn on any light. There's not a single light bulb on up here. It's just natural light, and that's how it is basically the majority of the day. And it's just the placement of windows properly placed. We have a lot of windows placed up high so that we can keep them open all day long. So even if I'm walking around in my boxers, no one can see me. You have the privacy. Yeah, the natural light really helps, and also by working from home, I don't feel like I'm inside a building all day. I feel like I'm outside because literally I have all these windows around me.
How big is it?
Yeah, so Kevin, actually the house it's average, so it's 7 shipping containers. So each container is 350 square feet. We're just at about 2,000 square feet for this whole house, which is great. Now the house is narrow. We're looking left to right here. That's only 16 feet wide, which most houses in America are a little bit larger than that. But the thing is that it fits the style of lot here in New Orleans really well. A lot of the lots here are long and narrow, so we're able to fit that space perfectly. So yeah, it's 2,000 square feet, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. We're going up to the 3rd floor right now. This is a space that we don't really show that often because it's kind of like our hobby space. My wife is really big into yoga, and I paint models and whatnot. So, just where we do all our, it's like a little hobby area. But what I have to show you is this. I love sugary breakfast cereal. I've been collecting this stuff forever. So this is my sugary breakfast cereal box collection, as well as it's like limited edition stuff. This is a really cool Star Wars theme one that I love that I got from the UK. So stuff from around the world. And anyway, just another weird thing to add to our already weird house. But Kevin, I wanted to show you this because this is a single container. So on the first 2 floors, we're 2 containers wide, giving us, 16 feet. This is a single container. So it's only 8 feet wide and it's 40 feet deep. And this kind of gives you an idea for the space of what you would do if you were building a house that was only 1 container wide or just 1 container total. So yeah, it can get cramped. You definitely need to combine containers side by side to give you a little bit more elbow room.
Wow, just amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm thinking about, shipping container homes are just super popular. There's a lot of people who are thinking about the future good containers. Or do you get like the super old containers that you find that are super cheap, or do you want to get new ones? Like, what's your advice for someone who's considering it?
So if you get a brand new container, it's going to cost you a premium price. A container that's never been used is kind of defeating. I'm not saying it's defeating the purpose, but it's kind of defeating the purpose, because at that point you can build a house out of traditional to $5,000 each. But they're in great condition. You want to make sure you check your containers out though in person, or have someone you trust check them out. You want to, you don't just buy them and have them delivered. You want to, know how many. You want to look for dents, because you don't want to have an awkward dent in the side of your living room. You want to make sure they're not too rusted. That they're, pretty decent condition. The other big thing you need to consider if you're building a shipping container house is how close are the containers to you. We're in a port city, so containers are very readily available, very close. But if you live, in the Midwest and you're not close to a port city, you're going to have to pay to ship those containers in, and that's adding thousands of dollars per container in, which starts several $1,000s. But that's if you're right there. To ship a container is not an easy thing. It's literally you have to have an entire truck take just 1 container. There's a few other things you want to consider. You're tremendously beneficial. Unfortunately, though, it does add cost to each container.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's just so much to it. So as you and Anne went through the process, you built your own home using shipping containers. For the people who are thinking about going on the same process, like, would you say, yeah, go for it, it's super easy, or
look at all the exterior photos of this, because it's logistically difficult to get containers placed into a residential neighborhood. I mean, if you live in the middle of an empty, farmland or something, maybe that's a lot easier. But you're going to look, our house is, there's houses around us. You have to work with your neighbors to get them to allow you onto their property, to position a crane or have a fork truck, maneuver on their front lawn to move the containers. So that's the first hurdle. But then after that, it's not easy. I know a lot of people think it's easy, and to build a single floor home or an expensive lot, so I had to go up, not wide, and that is very complicated. After spending a year on this project with my wife, we learned a lot, but we also realized this is not easy. I mean, I wish I could say, hey, go out and do it. Take a deep breath and really think about it. If you are an experienced welder, yeah, that'll make it a little bit easier on you, because then you don't have to rely on a welder. But if you do want to do something like this, I would really consider, instead of going up, I would go wide and keep it to 1 floor, and ideally smaller makes it significantly better. Every time you're adding another container to the project, it gets harder and harder.
Oh, amazing. And
I'll tell you that it is comforting living in this house. It was a lot of work to get to this point. It was not easy, but it's really comforting knowing that you're living in a metal box that you can feel safe in. So, ultimately a home is where you can go home, you can go at the end of the day and feel safe and protected and rest at ease. And I can definitely do that at this home. So despite how difficult it may be, I think it's well worth it.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Kicker. We really appreciate you and Ann taking your time to show us your wonderful shipping container home. Like what you said before, for the people who are watching us, if they want to see some photos, learn a little bit more about your home, go to our website, weirdhomestore.com. You can find all the homes that we've had on the tour under All Weird Homes, very easy. And then go to New Orleans, and then you'll see some wonderful photos. And we really want to encourage people to do that. And if you want to learn more about other homes, we are continuing this series every Saturday at 12 and at 4 p.m. Central Time. So we hope that you join us then.
And Kevin, people don't need to build a whole home. That's weird. You can just build a room. I found so much inspiration by going to your website, and I'm not building a whole other house, but hey, I just worked in my baby's room. I got inspiration from other homes there. Like, all right, let me just do this one room with elements from that house you showed. So your website's such a resource because you don't have to do a whole house to be weird. You can just do a room or just an element of a room and really get creative. You have so many great examples there of people personalizing their homes. So thank you for creating such a great resource, which is the Weird Homes website.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we like to say we want to inspire people to think outside the box, even whenever they're thinking inside the box, like you did. So, really appreciate that.
Definitely. Have a good Memorial weekend.
Yeah, you too. We'll talk to you later, Kicker. All right.
Thanks.